So we're going to start off with the fact that The Mandalorian might be canceled. Okay, nerds, we're adding a section. That section is breaking news. I'll explain it in a second. This is the Week in Nerdom. I, as always, am Dustin. These are your pop culture headlines, and we're going to be getting into a fair amount of them. So let's hit the intro. Okay, so no real housekeeping to speak of for the episode, aside from just reminding you to subscribe if you have not already. There is a fair amount of viewership that comes from non-subscribers, so definitely click the subscribe button. It's super free, and it's super easy, and it does me a whole lot of good. So I am imploring you to maybe click the subscribe button if you enjoy what I'm doing here. Otherwise, join me, won't you, in the news. So this is going to be our first time with breaking news. I don't even have animation for it. I literally just had this thought about 10 seconds before I went to film, because sometimes I will just add things into it, into my notes, but then they're the less researched things and they seem really awkward. So if we just set them aside as, hey, I haven't researched this yet, but it's a thing that's happening, I feel like then it's going to be less awkward. So that being said, this is breaking news. These are things that have happened since I did a full and proper session of research, and now that it's a few hours later and we're doing filming, these things have happened in that time. So I have not had time to research them, but we do have breaking news about Fortnite. They have announced the next team up is going to be with Street Fighter, and they have released the skins for Ryu and Chun-Li, which is awesome. Again, don't know anything beyond that. We will touch on this in a future episode. Also breaking news, Ari Aster's new movie, Disappointment Boulevard, just made a casting announcement. I kind of forgot Ari Aster was working on another movie. If you don't know, Ari Aster did Midsommar and Hereditary. So this is his new one. So it's, the casting announcement is Joaquin Phoenix. And then our next piece of breaking news has to do with Train to Busan, the zombie movie from, I think it was from Korea? It might have been China. Again, not super well researched for this, but there has been an announcement that we will be getting a U.S. remake of this movie because of its popularity all over the world. Super interested. That is all we have for breaking news. Let's get into the regular news, the stuff that I have, in fact, researched, and we're going to start things off with music. In today's music section, we are starting with Slipknot. Corey Taylor just did an interview with Kerrang where he's talking about the fact that Slipknot has scheduled or rescheduled, I guess, their tour that was canceled because of COVID. They have rescheduled it to start in September. No dates have yet been given, but that is not the biggest piece that we're talking about right now with Slipknot. He also dropped in this Kerrang interview that there is going to be something, and I quote, massive that the band is going to announce over the course of the next month. We will definitely be keeping our ears open for this, but that's all we got right now. So our next piece in music news has to do with Gojira. Gojira, if you don't know, the amazing French metal band that Randy Blythe once said is the heaviest band in the world. Those guys are putting out a new record finally. So the track that we got before that I did the reaction video to, Another World, that is going to be on here. They did release another single for this. It's called Born for One Thing. The record is going to be coming out April 30th on their American record label, Roadrunner Records. I don't know who has worldwide distribution. I didn't find that. But Roadrunner Records is going to be releasing it in the States. And it's, going to be pretty freaking awesome because it's Gojira. Link to the single video down in the description, so go check that out. And that's all we got for music. And now, switching things up just a little bit, next is gaming and tech. So, gaming and tech today, I do have a little asterisk to put at the beginning of this section in that I'm going to start covering more tech announcements around things that affect YouTubers. So, just to round out the tech side of things a little bit. That being said, Blackmagic has announced their next cinema camera, their pocket cinema camera, the BMPCC, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera is what that stands for, 6K Pro. This is not a huge step up from the last BMPCC 6K. There are a couple of really interesting additions, like the tilty screen. It's no longer affixed to the body of the camera, which is kind of freaking huge. Also, the screen now has HDR. A number of other things. Nothing like huge. USB-C charging, I guess. Better ND filters in body, which is also pretty epic. But like as far as video quality goes, it doesn't sound like anything is really super drastically different there. But still, this might be a big deal to you because it's only $500 more than the last model. So if you want the newest and best and you don't have a cinema camera, this is a really good option because it's $2,500. Now, granted, that is just the body. There is no lens with that. And this is also likely going to drive the price of the other pocket cinema cameras down. So the BMPCC 4K and then the original 6K both will likely drop, though the original 6K is still $2,000, which again is not super expensive considering these are legit cinema cameras, just without a whole bunch of flashy extras on the side. That is what we've got there, though. Next, we're talking real quickly about the Nintendo Direct that just happened the other day. Nintendo Direct hasn't happened officially in 100% capacity for approximately 2 years, so it's pretty significant. I'm just going to go over a couple of the highlights from it. You can definitely watch that on the YouTubes. I will provide a link in the description. So, of note, we have the next Smash character was announced. It's Pyre from Xenoblade Chronicles. Fall Guys is coming to the Nintendo Switch this summer, which it's also coming to the Xbox consoles in approximately the same time frame. Legend of Mana is coming out in June, on June 4th. It's a legendary JRPG. If you like RPGs, that's probably one you're going to want to check out. Star Wars Hunters was announced. Ninja Gaiden trilogy, so the first two Sigma games, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. These are all the like advanced versions of what started on the original Xbox console and has been going forever, and this is some of the best platform action titling stuff ever. These games are amazing. It's awesome they're coming to the Switch. Also, we have the announcement of Splatoon 3. You can see the link down in the description to the trailer for that. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is getting an expansion. So these are the big highlights. There is some more stuff in the Nintendo Direct. As these things kind of develop a little bit more, we will be keeping tabs on them. But right now, we are moving on to our last piece for gaming and tech, and that is Retron Square. So Hyperkin is a wonderful company that makes these emulation consoles. It's not really emulation, it's clone hardware in that you don't load games like the ROMs onto the console. It plays the actual physical cartridges. And what started out as a joke was going to be called Retron Junior is now being called Retron Square because of the shape of the console is actually getting released. It is available right now for pre-order. I did not see the actual release date because you have to like join up with the company in order to get that kind of information, and I just honestly didn't have the time. But I will see if I can find it going forward. We'll put it as a follow-up for this section. What the Retron Square or Retron Junior is it's a Game Boy player on your TV. So you can play your Game Boy Color, and at launch, it will play some Game Boy Advance games. There is a caveat here. It is being listed as beta phase for Game Boy Advance at launch. Presumably, that means when they're going to have system updates that are going to update the software, so you will be able to play Game Boy Advance games better in the future. But right now, there is a very small list of Game Boy Advance games that is going to be available at launch. all of that being said, that is what we have for gaming and tech. Now let's talk about comic books. We're talking first about a couple of DC throwback books. We have Batman 89 and Superman 78. So, Christopher Reeve's Superman and Michael Keaton Batman are getting the comic book treatment, so we're going to expand the universes of those two iterations of the superheroes. So, presumably that means we're going to see Presumably, that means we're going to see a black Harvey Dent in Billy D. Williams. We're also going to see a black Robin in Marlon Wayans, all of which sounds so incredibly awesome to me. I mean, it's art. It's drawn. It is a comic book. We're not getting this in like animation or even any sort of live action, but still, it's going to be a great reminder of what could have been. I didn't see as much on the Superman 78 as far as like what we potentially are missing out on. Probably some sort of rebirth story might happen there, because that was something that was in the works for a little while. Superman Lives, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened is a fantastic documentary. If you're unaware of it, go check it out. They are going to be released in 6 books, 6 chapters, I guess. So that means 6 digital copies. That digital first is the way they're doing things over in DC these days. And then they're going to release each pair of chapters as a physical release. So there's going to be 3 physical releases. The first of those 6 chapters digitally released is July 27th for both books. And then presumably it's going to be every week following, and then every 2 to 3 weeks after that is when the physical copies are going to be released. So pretty freaking awesome. Moving right along, we have a huge announcement from Spawn creator Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane wants to create a legitimate Spawn universe. This Spawnverse, he wants to have 4 active books that are ongoing by the end of the year. So our regular Spawn book that is always ongoing, that is a world record holder at this point. And then he's also there's going to be 4 other books, but one of those is only going to be a miniseries. The miniseries is going to be called Spawn's Universe. That is coming out in July, and then the other 3 books that are going to be the ongoings are called King Spawn, coming in August, Gunslinger Spawn, which is coming in October, and The Scorched, which I did not find a release date or a general release date for, but that is going to be the 4th ongoing book. So we are going to have 4 Spawn books regularly by the end of this year. That is amazing. And then our last piece in comic books and books is not a comic book news piece. It is a book news piece. Dio, the ever amazing and legendary frontman of Rainbow and the second frontman for Black Sabbath, that guy, the Rainbow in the Dark guy, the Holy Diver guy, he was apparently working on an autobiography before he passed very untimely in 2010. He was working on it with a longtime music writer by the name of, where did it go? I wrote it down. I know I did. Mick Wall. There it is. Mick Wall was helping him write his autobiography. And then when he did pass in 2010, Mick Wall took over the duties and finished the book. Well, now we are actually getting release date information for it. We have July 27th as the official release date and the announcement of the official artwork, which you should see right about here. That is pretty freaking awesome, but that is all we have for comic books and books. Okay, so TV streaming. I know we're doing things a little bit out of order. If you're watching the main episode, the main show, you're not watching one of the syndicates where I chop things out, then things are a little bit out of order. If you're listening or watching on a syndicate, then everything sounds normal. So I'm just talking for no reason. We're talking TV streaming, baby. So first up, this is all going to be follow-ups. So there is no newsworthy, brand new things aside from what we already covered in the breaking news section. So first up, we have that Kung Fu reboot that we have been keeping tabs on because it is loosely related to Bruce Lee, and I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. He and I had the same birthday, baby. The reboot just landed an amazing actor as what's the name of the character is Kerwin. Ludi Lin, who is playing That's right. He's playing Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat. He is now going to be part of this Kung Fu series. It doesn't say how much of a feature this character is going to be as part of the series, but he is going to be in the series, and that's freaking awesome. Next, we have a real quick announcement for the horror-minded folk. Creepshow over on Shudder just got renewed for its 3rd season, which is pretty great. And then we have our final follow-up piece, which it comes from Stargirl. Stargirl just announced that they will be bringing Jay Garrick into their mythology. Well, it's kind of tying their mythology to the Arrowverse mythology because they have John Wesley Shipp playing Jay Garrick, much like on the CW Flash. So, yeah, let's do this. That sounds pretty freaking awesome. That's all we've got, though, for TV streaming. So now let's get into movies. Movies is a very similar situation. There's just less here. We only have follow-ups in the movie section. First up is the Cruella trailer. Yeah, that happened. I'm still trying to make heads or tails of what's going on there, but I just want to hand this one off to you guys. What do you think? Let's have that conversation on the socials, on wherever, comment section, whatever you got. Let's do that because, like, a lot of people are comparing it directly to the Joker, and some people are saying it reminds them of Harley Quinn in some ways. And then there's still, like, the weird element that they're glorifying a character who kills dogs. Like, this is a weird movie in so many ways. Let's talk about that. But then, in the other follow-up news, we have an official announcement from the Snyder camp that in the Snyder Cut, we will be at least seeing, no word on how much of a role she's going to play, but we will at least be seeing Granny Goodness. As a matter of fact, we have already seen Granny Goodness in some of the promotional artwork. So, that's kind of cool, but that is all we have for movie news. So, let's now talk about rumors. The rumor mill is interesting. It's always the biggest section because everybody likes to throw stuff out there and see what sticks. So first up, we do have a refutation for a rumor that we have covered. I think it was either the last episode or the episode before, the rumor about Star Trek 4 saying that potentially William Shatner was going to be joining to create some sort of connection to the Prime timeline. William Shatner has come out and said, no, I am not playing that character anymore. Captain Kirk is not going to make an appearance. If this movie even is happening, it will not feature William Shatner. So there you go. Rumor shut down. So moving right into proper rumors, we have a jumble with The Mandalorian. All right, so we're going to start off with the fact that The Mandalorian might be canceled. Well, that's a little big. So that was the way this was sold to me to begin with, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. But what the leak or the rumor goes on to say is that Pedro Pascal, remember we covered the fact that he had been cast in the Last of Us series. Pedro Pascal is now saying that his primary focus is The Last of Us, which has led a lot of people to speculate that maybe he's not going to be in The Mandalorian going forward, what with all of those issues that were rumored to be going on behind the scenes before. And then we have somebody who claims to have ties to Lucasfilm saying, yes, in fact, Pedro Pascal is considering not being part of The Mandalorian going forward. No real reason was given as to why this might be. Just, yeah, this is a thing because he's got this other stuff going on and whatever. He doesn't like to have to be associated with something that Gina Carano did. I don't even freaking know. So likelihood for this portion of the Mandalorian Mandalorian rumor mill, I really put this one pretty low, especially because they're saying that it's going to cancel the show. We have already established that Pedro Pascal is not absolutely necessary for this character. Yes, he does have a fantastic voice for this, and we have seen his face a grand total of 3 times in 16 episodes. So, if we have a different face that kind of looks similar, I don't think anybody's really going to complain, especially the diehard Star Wars fans that really don't like Pedro Pascal outside of this show anyway. So, Likelihood that Pedro is leaving, I'll put that at like 25%. There is a sliver of reason to believe this, but it's really, really weak. Likelihood that The Mandalorian is getting canceled. This is the biggest thing that Disney has done with the Star Wars stuff. I need to clarify this. The biggest thing Disney has done with Star Wars yet. So no, this is not, I wholeheartedly believe we will at least get a season 3, very likely into even season 5 of The Mandalorian. That's totally speculation and conjecture, but I'm putting it out there. So yeah, 0% chance that The Mandalorian is getting canceled right now. Moving on with more Mandalorian rumors, we now have a rumor. This one's Gina Carano more centric. We now have a rumor that says that Gina Carano has said, and I haven't been able to corroborate this, which is why it's in rumors, but she has said that she will not accept, if Disney does in fact decide to backtrack on their firing of her, she will not take her job back. She doesn't want to work for somebody who can fire her for what is ostensibly very flimsy reasoning. And because it sounds like, and this was coming from multiple even mainstream sources, legit news outlets are saying that Kathleen Kennedy was looking for a reason to get rid of her. So why would you want to work for a boss like that? It has also said that Jon Favreau, and this is another rumor, it's also said that Jon Favreau, because he stuck his neck out, is now less focused on The Mandalorian and is shifting his focus more into the Old Republic. What is it? I can't think. The words are not coming to my brain. Yeah, the other one that Gina Carano was supposed to be in, he's focusing there instead of on The Mandalorian, because now Mandalorian, in his eyes, is tainted, is what the rumor kind of alludes to. Again, I cannot, I totally believe the Gina Carano portion. That, I think, is 100% true. I think that I will find in the research for the next episode, I will find a way to confirm that she has that sentiment. I do not doubt. I'll put a little bit of doubt. I'll scale that back to 90% true. But as for the validity to the Favreau rumor that he is borderline going to be leaving The Mandalorian, that also doesn't hold any water to me. Biggest thing since sliced bread, once again. So Favreau leaving Mandalorian or shifting his focus elsewhere, I can't put a whole lot of weight on that. That's, again, we're looking at about 10% likelihood that that's a thing. So that is all we have for Mandalorian, believe it or not. We're moving on now to Constantine. Constantine, we now kind of sort of, if you want to believe the rumor, have further evidence that J.J. Abrams' DC universe is going to be an Elseworlds kind of universe, because we do have word that he's looking for a BIPOC, I can't remember what that stands for. Indigenous or person of color. I forget what the B stands for. I apologize. But he's looking for a BIPOC to potentially play Constantine in his version of the Justice League Dark. I think this is a legit thing. I think this also would confirm, if that's the case, this also would confirm other rumors that have to do with the Justice League Dark. Very specifically, the one that I've already mentioned, that JLD is going to be an Elseworlds kind of thing, because we already have other versions of Constantine in the mainline DC movie universe, whatever you want to call that right now, that are being cast, and that are being cast appropriately as a white British dude. Nothing wrong with that. That is how the character was written, so it makes sense. But also, nothing super wrong with doing an Elseworlds version that's not that. So both things can exist, and we can all be happy. Moving right along. Oh, wait, no. Validity for this. I'm putting this at about 80% because, again, I totally believe that Abrams would be doing something like this. Next, we're moving into Batman. So we actually have two Batman rumors. I have them separated in the notes, so I'm going to try and remember to touch on the next one before we move on. But the first one is that Robert Pattinson is adding to the commotion behind the scenes by impregnating Zoe Kravitz. Apparently, according to, I think it was either Reddit or 4chan, I don't remember where the leak, quote unquote, comes from, but apparently somebody on set caught them having sex on the Batmobile prop, and so Matt Reeves interrupted, a little coitus interruptus, and then very shortly thereafter, Zoe Kravitz took a pregnancy test and it came back positive. This is so far out there. Like, if you believe this, I got some swampland in Arizona to sell you. No, this is that I cannot on so many levels believe this at all. I'm putting this at 0%. Like, I do believe that there is issues behind the scenes with Robert Pattinson. I don't think this is one of them. So 0% for that one. The other Batman rumor that we're getting is that there's word now that Thomas and Martha Wayne are not going to be dead in this. Again, kind of reaffirming the fact that this is an Elseworlds kind of story. Not going to be dead in this, but they are going to be villains, kind of, sort of. They're going to be like shady underbelly Gotham types. They're going to still be rich, and they're going to still have brought up Bruce in luxury, and he's, very well taken care of and so on and so forth. But Thomas and Martha will not have been killed in his childhood. Very much changing everything about this character. Why would this be a thing? This one I feel like has a little bit more legs than the Robert Pattinson one. Not a whole lot, though, because there's so many things you don't screw with in comic book history, and this is like number one. Unless it's an Elseworld story, in which case then you already have this set up. You already know where the Elseworld story is. You have Thomas Batman and you have Martha Joker, and that is the incredible best option. To make them no-name scum is just a very strange, poor choice. Likelihood for this, though, we're going to put this up at about 30%, slightly more than a quarter way to believable, but like, ooh, that's a very thin margin to be. Okay, next we are moving right along. Now we're talking about the Secret Six. There was an announcement years ago that a Secret Six series was in the works. It got shut down for whatever reason, didn't get past pre-production. Now there's a new rumor saying that we're going to get a different Secret Six series on HBO Max. This Secret Six series, everybody is speculating as to what it's going to be. All of the rumors and all of the leakers and all of the people who break this kind of stuff can agree on is that a Secret Six series is in the works. What it's going to be based on, everyone has a different assumption. So I'm not going to really get into that speculation, but we will talk very briefly about the believability of this rumor. This seems to be kind of right up the alley of where HBO Max is going. So that kind of holds some water. This also, they think that they're going to do well. They did moderately well with the first Suicide Squad movie. They're betting pretty good on James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. So this is going to theoretically be in that same vein. Regardless of which version of the Sinister Six they go with, there still is possibility that it's going to be played as a different kind of Suicide Squad. That's going to be the feel of it. So because, again, they're trying to maximize on all of the streaming content possible, and they probably can't get the rights 100% for a streaming series dealing with all of the characters that are in the Suicide Squad, this is the next best thing. There's a lot here that's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we're going to weigh this one pretty good. We're 70% likely that this is happening. Next, we were talking very briefly about Kraven. This one's real quick. Karl Urban is the next major actor to be rumored to be getting the role of Kraven. Now that we know that Keanu Reeves has turned it down, well, we assume anyway that he has turned it down. So Karl Urban as Kraven. Maybe. I'll put this at 50%. This is not a super solid source, but it is a super fun rumor. That's really the only reason I'm putting it this high, because like there is room. I'm sure they're offering this role to a lot of people that are in a similar circumstance as Keanu Reeves and Karl Urban. Very well-known actor without maybe a whole lot of comic book. I mean, Karl Urban was in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and Thor and whatever. Thor, and then the one Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Either way, it's a lot of fun, 50%. Next, we're going to be talking about Blade Runner. I really like this rumor. I really like this rumor a lot. This rumor says that there is a new live-action series in the works for somebody. because Alcon Entertainment are the ones who own the property, and they do not have any ties with any streaming services. They don't have a streaming service of their own because they're smart. It is being rumored that they're working on a live-action prequel series, prequel to the original movie, prequel series for Blade Runner, that they are then going to sell to the highest bidder, though we do know that they have a relationship with HBO and Warner Brothers for distribution purposes and such, so very likely it could end up on HBO Max because of that existing relationship. I want this to be a thing. I don't like this source, though. As awesome as this would be, this source is super, super janky. So I can only give this about a 30% likelihood. If I can corroborate this with a different source, a more reliable source, we'll talk about it again. But right now we're looking at about 30%. Next, we're talking about Twisted Metal. That's right, Twisted Metal, the old school PlayStation car combat game, is getting an animated series. We've covered this, I'm pretty sure. We know this is happening. It's coming to Netflix. The new rumor, though, is that Will Arnett, you'll remember him from Arrested Development fame, and he was also in Wrist Cutters with Tom Waits. If you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic little movie. But Will Arnett is reportedly lending his voice to Sweet Tooth, the clown, for the Twisted Metal series. It does say that it's going to be a cameo role, so he's not going to be a major player in this, which kind of already kills the rumor because Sweet Tooth is like the face of freaking Twisted Metal. So why would they not feature this character very heavily? So that kind of squashes this in and of itself. I can't go above like 15% likelihood. I mean, it's only because of that. Like, I think Will Arnett would be a decent choice for the voice of Sweet Tooth, but because the rumor does say that it's going to be a cameo-style role, I just can't believe any of it. So again, 15%, we're moving on. Our last piece of rumor news, or rumor mill, whatever, is another video game rumor, and it's another freaking Silent Hill rumor. This time, though, it does say very specifically that within the next 2 months, we will be getting the announcement from Konami. Every other time this has happened, it has not actually come to fruition. This is just another in a long line of Silent Hill rumors. This one even goes so far as to say that Konami, when they announce it, are going to announce the studio that they farmed it out to because they're not going to be doing the game in-house. We've just been burned so many times with Silent Hill rumors. This does come from a pretty decent source, but all sources are wrong at least half of the time. This can't go above 50%, and because we've been burned so many times, it can't go above 30%. So that's where we're putting it. 30% likelihood that this is a viable rumor. That is what we got for the rumor section. That is also what we've got for the episode. What did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper in the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That is the place to see all of the written stuff as well as pretty much every episode. And then patreon.com/generallynerdy is the place to go support more directly. There is a merch store on the website, generallynerdy.net, so you can go if you want to just do a one-time purchase and get some awesome nerdy swag. I'm not wearing any of it today because Mortal Kombat trailer, yo! Yeah, you can go check that out over on the website, all of the things. I appreciate you nerds. Right about now, there should be stuff popping up over there. You can click or tap any of those boxes to go see the stuff that is happening on the channel besides just my pretty face. Thank you very much, nerds. We're going to head out now. Before I go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.